Oh, there we go. Fixed it. Boom.
All
I
right,
hit now.
you're gonna have to let me know how you did that because I could not figure it out the last time I was on here.
Yeah, I'll show you. All right. So, Steve, so Jeff and I are going live right now. We don't have a guest on our Double Trouble show. So, we're going live on TikTok. And we wanted to kind of talk about, something that happened on the bus. Jeff did a TikTok video about it, and so you can watch his TikTok video as well. It's pretty interesting. But we're also, he just talked about hit up on Facebook Messenger from somebody who is asking for $155, which maybe in that person's country is like a lot of money. I don't know. You know,
Right. I mean, this person is from Uganda, and I, I I don't know this person. It comes up. You're not friends on Facebook. It's probably just somebody who follows me.
right?
Uh, I maxed out on Facebook friends, which is 5,000 a while back, and every once in a while I'll purge my Facebook friends and weed out people who are deactivated, who aren't active on Facebook anymore. And long story short, yeah, I mean, he even sent like two screenshots of medical invoices, Uh, and he needs this, evidently he needs this $155 very urgently for a testicle surgery, and
Oh
then, my
God.
heart goes out to the guy. Uh, I'm not going to donate any money online to anybody,
Yeah,
uh, not even somebody who needs testicle surgery, unfortunately, you know.
yeah. I don't blame you. No, I mean, it's so many jokes, but I don't want to say them necessarily on a live broadcast because we may get kicked off. But pretty daring, I'll say that.
Yeah,
Um,
it takes a lot of courage.
yeah.
Whether or not he actually needs this sort of surgery, that takes a lot of courage
Yes. Yeah.
uh, to approach someone with that quest.
Yeah. Hold on. I invited Ryan. I don't know if Ryan can um, come on live or not, but I invited him. He's from our Facebook group as well, our Facebook Messenger group chat. OAR. So Ryan, if you can join, cool. If you can't, that's cool too. I realize that, you probably have, other things going on. But so, how did this conversation go when, when you let him down, decline, or
Well, yeah, I mean, I said, sorry, I can't help you out with any money right now, and he was insistent. I mean, he said, Mr. Brown, may I call you? I can video call you and even show you why I need this, right? And I said, no thanks. I don't need a video call. I don't need to see anything. I can't lend you any money. I can't give you any money. He was so persistent that I actually had to block this guy. I mean,
oh no,
I didn't want the conversation to continue.
right, yeah. No, no one does. No one does. Because it's a waste of time. You know,
Here's the
uh,
thing. You could go to you could go to great lengths on social media uh, to scam people. And these receipts, invoices from some sort of medical center. It had doctor's script on it, which was real scribbly. So I don't
right?
know really what it said,
Yeah.
even though it was in English writing. I don't know what it said.
To say it was really from a doctor.
I mean, it could have said anything.
Yeah.
My my heart goes out to the guy, but I can't lend him
Yeah, and that's what's sad.
$155.
That's what's sad is, let's say for example, let's say for example, he is really in dire straits, right? That his living conditions are poor, um, not very much money. Let's just say, for example, he's destitute, right? That it's he's in such a condition that he's desperate. You know, if that's the case, that's a shame that maybe there is such a, that he's in such a bind. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without using any words that may be misconstrued with the what he's asking for, what he's saying the surgery is for. But I'm just, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a shame that if he really is, and that's what, there are two things that are shameful. Number one, that if he really is in a poor condition, a bad condition, and he's having to lie about it because he's embarrassed, and he's having to come up with an excuse like, I need, I'm having surgery, then that's a shame. But and number two, if he is really lying about it, and he does this scam all the time, and he really isn't in need of money. I mean, he needs money, but he's not. But he's scamming people all the time, and it's just a scam. Then that's a shame. So because
Either
it's,
way, either way, it's a shame.
yeah,
No matter what. I mean, I just after saying, look, I'm sorry, I cannot help you with money. Uh, I don't know him, and you have to be very careful on online these days. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago that I was ripped off by somebody who had gone to great lengths to create a very exquisite looking, legitimate website. You know the whole story, and I fell for it because I monitored a Facebook group of this guy, you know, uh, and his website, yeah, looked sort of suspect, okay, but upon monitoring his Facebook group for a whole month, it looked like this website was legitimate, and
right.
unfortunately it wasn't. I got scammed, and I lost a good amount of money, and I will never get that money back. So you have to be very careful online. You can't just, I mean, even if 155 bucks were just a drop in the bucket for me, I'm not going to lend it to some stranger. I'm not. I don't know this guy.
Well, because it just makes, if he really is scamming you, then he feels it's going to perpetuate the problem, and he's going to scam more people. Um, anyway, so back to the bus story. Let's go to let's talk about that a little bit, because you made it. So anybody who's watching this right now, we're gonna the title of my live, I put it as nacho regular bus story, because it has to do with nachos and a bus. Okay. And my twin brother is traveling, and you're visiting New York City on holiday or vacation or whatever you want to call it, because your daughter goes to the university there. So the you had to take the bus. Subway wasn't getting you where you needed to go, and so you hopped on a bus, right?
It's one of those situations where sometimes you have to take a subway, then a bus, and then or in this case it was a subway and a bus. It could have been the other way around, but anyway, it depends on where you're going here in New York City. We were on our way to Times Square actually, and I'll admit sometimes I should have a filter on my mouth when and I don't. And we're all about just humor, making jokes, and and bringing a certain amount of levity to a situation, so people around us laugh and have a good time. That's just who we are,
All right.
and I say we, and that is you and I, because we're so much alike. And
Right.
so we'd gotten off the subway, walked up the street, take the bus, and we were waiting there. We got on the bus, and it was just jam packed full of people. We're talking elbow to elbow, right?
And was this
And
near Times Square or where?
no, we were in Astoria, not
Okay.
not quite to the point where we would even take a subway train, right, to Times Square.
All right. All
So
right.
because we were in that neighborhood of where my daughter lives, we had to take the bus to the subway, right? Subway to Times Square. Uh, long story short, you get on the bus and you're holding, because it's elbow to elbow. There was just room to stand and grab the handle strap that comes down, from the bar. And so
Along the
I'm
bus,
just
right?
doing one of these numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
can,
You don't want to fall.
well, do you know what I'm doing right here?
Yeah.
Apparently, you've been on a bus before, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm doing one
there
of
you go.
these.
There you
Yeah.
go. One of these
And
numbers,
kind of go
right?
back and forth a
Right.
little bit
Yeah.
because of the emotion.
Lean back, right,
Yeah.
and forth. Anyway, so I just and grabbed onto that strap and I'm leaned back and I took a whiff. There was just this strong, overwhelming smell, and it was nachos.
Smelled like nachos. Yeah.
It smelled like nachos. And so, having no filter in my mouth, I just blurted out, "Man, some dude just smells straight up like nachos in here," right? Something to that effect. And I got an elbow in my gut from either my wife or my daughter, and I look around, and in the proximity of where we're standing, all around all around us on each side, sitting, are Hispanics. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think why I got the elbow in my gut. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me, I said nachos, but I'm thinking, really? Thinking
Everybody gets nachos.
nachos. Okay, so everybody eats nachos. I mean, nachos is not a derogatory thing, but
No, it's
is
not.
that really where we
Asian,
are
7-Eleven.
today in America? Is we are tripping over any word that could be minutely, minutely construed is derogatory for certain race, and if that's the case, I guess I did say something that was offensive, and I should have put a plug in it. But let's say it smelled like pizza. You know, if it smelled like pizza, I would have said the same thing. And would that have been an offensive word for Italians?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think we think of automatically pizza and then Italians, because pizza's eaten, all over the world, and everyone eats nachos. And to be honest with you, the nachos that most people eat are, movie theater cinema nachos
yeah.
at the
Saskia.
movies.
We've got Saskia here.
So what I'd like to hear from people who are viewing this is I'd like to hear your opinion, right?
Yeah.
Did I in fact really say something offensive?
It's nachos, right? It's nachos. And the thing about it is that if I go to a restaurant and it's a Mexican restaurant, yeah, nachos may be on the menu, but I am more inclined to think chips and salsa. And nachos. As a kid, I always thought of nachos as buying either nachos at the when I went to go to a
You can
movie
you
or
can get them at
it's a
7-Eleven.
um, you know a convenience store, gas station, whatever.
Right. Like at
And
7-Eleven.
thanks for hitting that, Saskia. So yeah, I mean, so nachos. I mean, I don't even. I don't know. Maybe I guess in a way, I don't know. It's so. My thing is that it's all in the context. And if it had smelled like donuts, okay, would it have been offensive to people that wear blue and a badge? I'm just
Yeah,
saying. You know what I
right.
mean? I mean,
And yeah, coincidentally, we were at Times Square last night, and right there at Times Square, there's a Krispy Kreme sort of
right.
location. It's almost like a factory,
Yeah,
right?
it's actually
And
their. I don't remember how long they've been in business, but it was like they're celebrating their birthday, Krispy Kreme. Yeah,
and here in the Eastern United States, here in New York, and then I remember especially in Boston, Dunkin' Donuts is like on every corner, right? So you'll see a Dunkin' Donuts, and they're just as popular for their coffee
yeah.
as their donuts, by the way, over here.
Hey, so Saskia's she's messaging or commenting right here. She's it reads everything is offensive these days. You breathe and someone is offended. You're right though. I can't believe you breathed.
Well, I mean, the shirt I'm wearing right now might be offensive to
The
somebody.
Punisher. Yeah, that that is not a hero. He kills people in the comics. So yeah. On another on another note though, so Jeff and I lived in Germany for 2 years, Saskia, and so we, I still watch movies in German, and I read German nearly every day. I'd say maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I read in German, and so our German is still pretty good. I'd love to find out where you're from in Germany. Green is offensive. Just kidding.
Yeah,
How dare you have green in the back of your studio? Yeah, I'd love to find out where you come from.
ja, also woher kommst du genau aus Deutschland?
Yeah, woher? So I lived in Hamburg, Flensburg, Kiel. Oh my gosh, Hameln, um, Bremen. Kiel was my favorite city, though.
She's from Köln.
Oh, Köln.
Sie ist in Köln
Yeah,
aufgewachsen.
Köln aufgewachsen. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool.
That's
Never been
closer to
there,
where I
but
was.
I've heard really good things about that city.
Yeah, I've been to Köln many times. Da bin ich öftermals gewesen.
All right. So anyway, in so the other thing I wanted to kind of that talk about is that it's so with I loved it. I haven't been back since we moved here. Oh well, and did you say how long you've been here in the United States now, Saskia? 10 years.
Well, you know what's interesting to me, Jared, is so you live in Germany. You know, Sasha, she comes from Germany. It's been since 2010, but you know the transportation system that they use in Germany, right? Essentially, it's kind of the same thing in New York City, and then also in Dublin, where I spent 3 days before coming here, right? Uh, as you recall, back then when we didn't have the internet, you had to have maps of the city you're in, and that map of the city you're in, you unfolded it, and it showed you all the transportation system and the different lines, you know, whether it was the bus lines, the subway lines, you know, and they had their routes and their names for those routes, right? It's the same sort of thing, except for here. You don't need a map. You can just Google it, and Google will tell you the route you go, whether it's driving, by foot or by subway or train. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or bus. And so yeah, they just use Google now, whereas back in the day we used a
Right.
a, a glorified map.
We used a physical, tangible map. We folded it all out, highlighted it, or did certain things to make sure we knew how to get from point A to point B. Yeah, I mean,
Right. Whether it
every
was the
city.
bus, the
Yeah,
streetcar, which they
right.
call a tram in most cases here,
Yeah.
in English, but
All right.
or the subway or the train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read some more comments here. So Saskia is she? It reads right here. It's on the plan to take the family back one day, hopefully very soon. Um, And then she says, yes, I remember that. I didn't have maps though. I'd go to the train station and they would have the lane maps on there.
Right.
Who's that
And
called?
and
Glide.
even when you get
Figure out where
in the
you had to get
bus,
off on the
oh, so have those lane maps uh, at the top, located at the top of the bus or the subway. Nowadays, that can be seen all in LED, digital lighting, not a map, but so it's
yeah,
it's been it's been kind of interesting every time, whether it was in Dublin when we were taking the public transportation or here, it does remind me of all those times of taking the public transportation system in Germany back in the 90s, you know?
yeah. I hope that that she does go back very soon. I'd love to go back to Germany again. I miss it. I still call it my second home. I love the food there. Um, again, Kiel was my favorite city, and our sister, I almost said my sister, our sister Sandy went there fairly recently this year, and while she was there, she bought me a Kiel T-shirt, and brought it to me, and I have it now, and it reads Kiel, and it has the German
Right.
flag on it.
So here in New York City, we're in this Queens area, and we wanted to stay not too far away from where Julia, our daughter, lives, and we also want to stay in a fairly economical hotel. It's not costing way too much, but we didn't want to stay in a dive hotel, so to speak,
Right,
right?
right.
So we're staying in this hotel, but right in back of us, literally, are train tracks, right? all throughout the all throughout the night, you'll hear these trains going, right? So I'm not used to living, or staying in an hotel where there are these train tracks. I'm waking up and I'm thinking, is that the coffee machine? Is there a coffee machine going, just gurgling away?
What's percolating?
Yeah, it's percolating away.
Yeah. So she's commented here, Jeff. My in-laws went to Europe a couple of years ago, and the train stressed them out so much. I could almost imagine that because for many Americans, that are a lot of states, you don't have to deal with all of the, con- you know,
The
all of
very,
the
the very,
subways, trains because of the cities are more spread out. Now, if you go to the big cities, most big cities, especially nowadays, have a light rail system, but and and then of course the big cities like New York City and other places even have a subway. Even Washington D.C. has a subway. Yeah, Michigan is a car state. Yeah, that's right. They're known for their cars. That's where Ford was first invented or fabricated. So at any rate, I can totally imagine, especially if they're not used to taking modes of transportation like that. I can understand
yeah,
how.
I mean, it could be stressful. I mean,
Yeah,
one of the things that I'm always reminded of when I come to here to New York City is they're just they're on a fast-paced schedule, a tight schedule, and New Yorkers are always going somewhere in a hurry. And why are they in a hurry? That's because they're relying on public transportation to get them there, and that public transportation may be a few minutes late or maybe a few minutes early, but they don't know. So you always have to hurry to the public transportation to make sure they get wherever they need to go, their destination on time. You know, uh, and then this whole analogy about planning it out early so you can get to that destination on time, and then having to look at that map, whether it's again on Google, okay, a tangible physical map in front of you, or the map at the train station. You have to look at that map and understand all of the stops, all the times that these modes of transportation, uh, with the times that they run at these points, right?
Okay.
You have to understand all of that, and that in and of itself is like a blueprint. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
following a blueprint. It's a
Yeah.
roadmap to success. The analogy is always there in my head when I look at these maps. Whenever I look at a map, the analogy just comes to my mind. It's like, look, in this online business space that we work, we can't do it without a blueprint, without a map, and understanding that map and the time, the stops along the way. Those stops along the way are goals that we have to accomplish in order to get to the destination.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree with you, but I think, um, and I'm going to read this comment here because I don't think you can see the comments because that's one small critique I have is that when you have two people on the same live, you should be able to see each other's comments. But at any rate, it reads right here, I liked Chicago better than New York. Chicago reminded me of Köln. So, so one thought, and then I want to get back to what you're talking about. So, in and around, they speak what's called Schwäbisch. Is that? I can't remember if that's in and around that area of Germany, Schwäbisch. Anyway, let me know because
Well,
yeah.
no. But you forget, Jared, that where I lived the first 2 years in Germany, that's where I served. It was that area, that Cologne
Okay.
area. Right?
So
They had a big old majestic church in the middle of the city there.
oh, that's cool. So the blueprint that you're talking about, I think a blueprint is totally useful because many people get lost in this digital world, the digital marketing space, affiliate marketing, whatever you want to call it. So that a blueprint is going to help you. Schwäbisch is more southern. Okay, all right. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. It's been a while, but there was a time where honestly, Jeff, maybe you too, uh, you can attest to this. It's much like here in the United States, where if I hear somebody from the South, I can tell they're from the South. And if I hear somebody from the East Coast, their dialect from New York or Boston especially, I know they're from, I can kind of observe their dialect. Well, it was the same for me in Germany, where if I heard them, I could say, I'm pretty sure I'm not, they're from Eastern Germany or this person's from Southern Germany, anyway, that's so it's an interesting thing to hear dialects that way. But anyway, getting back, I'm digressing. So getting back to the blueprint, I think a blueprint is totally it's useful and it's important. Um, Dialects, yes, I don't understand Schwäbisch. Yes. So it's kind of like when we speak to people like in I have to slow down and hear people when they're from Scotland. They're speaking English, but they speak it in such a way that I have to have them slow down. You know what I mean? But Irish people, a little bit, but not so much. The Scottish, I have to really listen to them. But anyway, I digress again. So blueprints,
Yeah.
this is like my fourth time where I've squirrel. Um, so the it's important, but I guess what sometimes Jeff sometimes frustrates me in being, having been in this digital marketing space for a little bit is that sometimes I think that some of these big so-called gurus, they market their blueprint as so important to have that if you have their blueprint, that
That's all you need.
it's like, the treasure map, and you're going to get the treasure if you follow their blueprint. And so that's where I get a little bit annoyed, is that they
Mm,
ding the you know the blueprint as sort of, you need to buy
yeah,
what I'm
I can
selling.
I can I can understand how you would look at it that way. I personally get more annoyed when I see posts about 90 to 95% done for you
Yeah.
programs. I get more annoyed at those things because honestly, if if this program, this affiliate marketing program, if they're giving you their sales funnel, if they're giving you the email and the email swipes, they're giving you all those things uh, already done for you. Uh, that's not 90%. You still have to come up and come up with and design the content regularly, if not, daily. And that content is not going to be done by
Whatever.
the
Yeah.
mentor or these gurus.
Right.
So it's not going to be
It's not.
90% done for
Yeah, it's
you.
a lie.
That's a fallacy.
I know that, I'm just gonna say it's a lie because it is, and I know that some people will stretch it to say, well, it's just marketing. Well, it's a lie. Um, so Saskia, she commented right here, the end all be all, and so that's my only critique about the word blueprint, is that when someone sells you, and that's what it is, okay, is that they sell you something, and that's what's so frustrating about having been in this for a minute, is that it really isn't about selling. That's what people forget, okay, is it's not about selling. It's about solving problems. We're supposed to be helping people solve their problems, whatever that might be. Okay, and if you've gotten into this and you think it is about selling, then you're going to learn that it's not going to be a sustainable business, because that's not what big businesses do. Big businesses that have been in business for a long time, they do it differently. It's not about selling to them. It's about connecting with their customers. Anyway, so that's what frustrates me a little bit. But the 95% or 100% done for you is word vomit to me. It makes me want to throw up. It does, because it's a flat out lie. It's misleading. But both of those to me are frustrating, because if someone sells you a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, $5,000 course with a blueprint that's going to help you find what you're looking for, and then they just ghost you, and they leave, and they don't really give you guidance or direction. And you thought this blueprint was the, as she puts it, the end all be all. You know, so the if as long as your mentor is giving you a blueprint, that's good. But you've just got to make sure that the blueprint is worthwhile to follow. You know what I mean? It's like
Well, yeah,
it's like following
again,
a
Phil,
map.
I don't want to like confuse like the blueprint with the program that people follow or the course, right? So I'm just making the analogy of like the map or the roadmap, not the program or the course that they follow, that the mentor, he or she, is going to give you, to understand how to have success.
Right, right. Brian, another guy from our OAR group, he has a TikTok video that he made that I really enjoyed, and he talks about how many gurus and people will will that you follow, a lot of them, and I won't name names, but many of them, a lot of them, that will just expect you to make content, but they many of them don't teach you how to make content. And in videos, really to the extent of teaching content is generally, and I'm saying generally because I haven't been a part of every single Zoom call that someone's done. I'm not privy to all of that, but so I'm speaking in general terms. But many people don't actually teach you how to make content, and so and that's my again. I get it. A map is very important, but it's got to be a good map, so that if you follow that, that you're not going to get lost. Because a blueprint is going to be only successful if it's taking you the and giving you the right directions.
Right. I mean, so you could look at it like a like GPS. When you get in a car and you need to go to a new destination, you're going to go to your GPS. In the old days, it was a GPS device, right? Now people just use their phones. Uh, they don't even use the GPS device, but they'll use Google Maps and they'll look up that new destination with Google in conjunction with Google Maps to give them the GPS coordinates and the route to follow
Yeah, here's our homeboy
to end
Robbie
up going
Mack
to that
join
destination.
us. Robbie Mack from the UK. What up, Robbie?
No, he's in Australia.
Oh, Australia. That's right. Thank you for correcting me. That's right. He's from Australia. So he watched our interview with James Noville Taylor. Robbie
Right.
did.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Full-time job to keep up is what Saskia said. It is a full-time job. Speaking of full-time job, Saskia, you're you're juggling quite a bit. You called yourself a glorified. What did you say? Anyway, you're an you're an engineer, and you're also a mom, and that's a full-time job. I mean, I'm not going to underscore or understate anything. It is a juggling act. She put there a glorified assistant. Is what she put. Yeah, she works for an automotive company, and anyway, she says, "I'm a glorified assistant." But but mad respect. Seriously, I give you a lot of respect, Saskia, because I see what my wife does. Jeff knows what Mimi does. Your wife. I mean, um,
Right.
it's amazing that you're doing digital marketing and you're a mom of two very young kids, full time job, hubby works nights. Wow.
It's a lot of work. It's a juggling act, like she already expressed, and when you have a 9 to 5 job, you have a family you've got to tend to after your 9 to 5 job. What this means is that you have minimal time for your online business, and so it is so crucial to be able to only have to do minimal things with that online business. And we're talking, yes, 1 to 2 hours commitment daily tops, because you're not going to have anything more than that time wise as a parent, and with something with a family and a full time job. You're just not going to have anything more than like 1 to 2 hours every day. You may not even have that much time,
Right,
every
right.
day.
Days you don't. Yeah,
It,
some
it's
days
it's
you have to.
juggling act. I mean, I look at it this way: when I'm back in Abu Dhabi at home, and the family's there. So Jayla comes home from school. We have dinner. I have to work out. And then we have to walk the dogs. And then before I know it, it's like 7 p.m. And I go to bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah, because you get up early in the morning, right?
because I get up early for work. So again, it sort of underscores that those of us who have a full-time job, a 9 to 5 job, family, it's a juggling act. And so it's so crucial that we get with the right mentor and the right program that teaches us these these things, these strategies and techniques, as we're learning right now with Lambo and Caden currently, right? So that we can create content and do our thing, and it's not going to require anything more than 1 to 2 hours every day. And then we rely on the sales funnel and the autoresponder to do their magic behind the scenes, in automation.
Hmm. Yeah. It. So Saskia, she comments right here. Absolutely, right now, sleep is getting sacrificed. And things do get sacrificed. Small things out of your life will get cut out because you have to make priorities when you're juggling, of course. Ja, klar. And one of those things happens to be sleep for you. On another day, I may be more caffeinated because maybe I went to bed too late and I didn't get enough sleep, because sometimes that will happen, not so much because I'm busy, it's because I feel like if I don't take at least an hour more out of the day and I stay up a little bit later, that it just seems like, like Groundhog Day, if you know what I mean, where I just,
Oh yeah,
it's
the week just flies by because of these
yeah.
schedules.
So there not every night, but every now and then I'll stay up 1 hour later, and the next morning and I'll just get more caffeine, of course. But it's because, man, I just want 1 hour, 1 extra hour, you know what I mean? And so that happens. So, anybody else, the two people that are watching, and if you're following, please hashtag live.
Drop a comment.
Drop a
Flood the
comment.
comment section.
Let us know if you could tell us apart. Can you can you tell which person's Jeff and which one's Jared? So Saskia, um, Michigan. What part of Michigan? Because in the wintertime, if you live near Lake Erie, it gets cold in the wintertime. It's kind of like when I lived near the harbor cities in Germany, all right, Bremen. I lived, of course, Kiel as
Hey,
another
hey,
harbor city.
Jared, do you remember Moin Moin?
Yeah, Moin Moin. Uh-huh. And in fact, what threw me off, all right, it gets cold no matter what, she commented. Um, what threw me off, and Saskia, comment if you've heard that before, Moin Moin. I think it's a southern term.
No, no, it's another northern Germany.
Is it northern? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. It is northern. But anyway, what threw me off when I heard Moin Moin is that every now and then they would just cut off one of the Moins and they would just say Moin. And
Yeah, because in southern Germany, it's they would say instead of like Guten Tag, they would say
right, right.
Grüß Gott.
Grüß Gott. Yeah. Yeah, she writes right here, Moin Moin for sure. My dad says it all the time. I say it still. I do. When I worked at another company, Big League Lawns, I used to say it every morning. And in fact, I said it so often that when people saw me in the morning, they'd say it to me, even though they don't speak German because they knew I say it, and said they'd say Moin Moin. But I heard that the first time when I was in Bremen. That was the first time I heard it, yeah. Other cities too, but that was the first time I heard it.
All right, brother. Well, I gotta I gotta sign out.
All right, brother. Good chatting with you. Thanks, Saskia, for joining. Thanks for your comments, Saskia. All right, choose.
Ciao.